I'll speak right into the microphone. I'm from the great state of Arizona, and there's an interstate. I don't know if you people know this, but there's an Interstate 8 that goes through the southern border of Arizona. Along that border, along that interstate, there are signs that say, "Enter at your own risk." And they are federal signs that are out there.
And which way are those signs facing?
They're facing both ways. They are facing both ways. It is such a dangerous part of the state that nobody in Arizona even goes down there.
How close is that to the border?
Probably about 80 miles. I'd say between 60 and 80 miles.
So 60 and 80 miles of
no
man's land.
No man's land. You do not want to go south. You can't even go through Cochise.
So it's a pretty spongy border.
Very spongy. It's full of holes, but that's not why I wanted to come up here. One of the gentlemen earlier had a question, what can we do as citizens? And Michele Bachmann, you weren't allowed to answer that, and I will for you. Run for office. Just simply run for office. My husband is running for the lowest office imaginable, school board. And it's a thankless, payless job, and I highly recommend everybody just put your neck out on the line and run for office. That's all it takes. Thank you very much.
This is your last question. I think one thing I'm extremely proud of that I just have to say is that we have real people that are here today. These are we've had a group of real, authentic, sincere people. And when we talk about people running for office, that's exactly what we want. We want real people, people who are going to be real the day they come, and people who are going to stay real on the day that they leave. That's a very important quality. Yes, sir.
Hi, I can attest that I'm a real person.
I am still a real person, by the way. I am still a real person. And that's probably the thing I'm proudest of, that I did exactly what I said I was going to do.
This is kind of a marketing question, a sort of fight fire with fire suggestion, and I'd also like to know why it's not being done. You know, this is a country that is now run not by laws, but by emotions and false platitudes and compassion. Mexico and other South American countries are depopulating themselves of their low-wage workers and sending them here. Why can't the Republicans make a case? I mean, if you were to send workers from New York to Minnesota just to get rid of them, there would be a hue and cry from here till Sunday and back. Yet that is exactly what these countries are doing. They're depopulating themselves, creating slave laborers in this country. The Democrats seem to love slaves because they were the party of slavery. Why can't the Republicans make a case that this is a question of human rights in those countries, and those countries should clean up their act and stop sending their indigent here where we can't educate them because maybe they don't want to be educated, they just want freebies. Why don't you make the case? Why can't Boehner make the case? Nobody seems to know how to fight fire with fire.
Well, I think, again, that's why this was such... Thank you. That's why this event today is exactly meant to have the conversation. When Steve got up this morning and spoke, when I came out here and spoke, what we said very clearly is we aren't having that conversation at all in there. Not on our side, not yet. We aren't having that conversation. In Judiciary Committee this week, they're speeding up getting this bill through. And just like if you were here earlier today, I read the newspaper article on Harry Reid, who said he's got before it was hush, hush, hush behind the doors. That's how they did this. They had their gang of 8 on the Senate side, then they had their little gang on the House side, and these gangs were all behind private doors, figuring out how they were going to move the dice and move the little cups around so that you wouldn't know what's going on around here, because they know what happened in '07. In '07, Senator McCain had an amnesty bill, and then the American people pushed back so hard that that bill failed and fell flat on its face. And so again, once again, what we saw happening is that once again, this is hush, hush, hush behind closed doors, but we also saw at the same time, it is hurry, hurry, hurry. Get it to the finish line before anybody wakes up and knows what's going on. So if we can't have a conversation inside the building, we knew we could count on the American people to want to have this conversation. So we were not afraid to put our philosophy on the line here on the people's court, so to speak. This is truly the people's courtyard.
Amen.
And we wanted to have that conversation. You have shown up.
But Michelle, the Republicans have never pinned the Democrats against the wall on this issue and forced them to admit that they're importing slave laborers to this country.
Yeah,
Stop doing that. That's all they have to say.
Well, and I'm telling you, you've had some Republicans up here on the stage today that are more than happy to make the case, who have been making the case, who took the time out of their schedule. It's just, the schedules are just crazy today. You see, we've had to tag team and be up here today. Steve wanted to be here all day. He couldn't, and so different ones of us have been here because we are willing to make the case. We're willing to have, I used to joke about my titanium spine. It still is a titanium spine. We still are willing to make that case. So we are doing what we can do. No, we are here making the case, and we are happy to do it. And that's why I think, Rosemary, was there anything else that you wanted to?
I would just say that not only is the case being made in the House, it is being made by some of these incredibly brave, courageous, truth-speaking members of the House. It's also being spoken in the Senate by Senator Jeff Sessions.
Jeff Sessions is doing a remarkable job.
Yeah.
Mike Lee is doing a remarkable job. Hey, listen, we are extremely grateful that we have people who are speaking out, and they need to have your support as well. So thank you for it.